is Tafireyi Nyamazana. I'm the current Vice Chair Southern Africa for AFIIA. AFIIA stands for the African Federation of Institutes of Internal Auditors. I'm also on the Institute of Internal Auditors Zimbabwe Board as the immediate past president. So in Southern Africa, I work across 10 countries, ranging from countries like Angola, Botswana, Lesotho, Malawi, Zambia, Zimbabwe, South Africa. So those are some of the countries that are within that portfolio. I think for us is we go back to the theme that was the theme for us is AFIIA 2026, when we say one IIA, one Africa and one voice, and Sikelele Africa, meaning, God bless Africa or bless Africa. And so we are endowed with so much as Africa and as Africans. And as we saw, people coming up on stage from various African countries, you could see the depth of knowledge, the wisdom that they shared, and also the quality of the people that came around in terms of the level of networking that we had to do and could do. And so the fact that, you can, as an African, reach out to a fellow African who is just as knowledgeable, who is able to impact on you, who is able to give you, wisdom to issues that you are grappling with, but also very fundamentally understands where you are coming from as an African. So that oneness, is something that I saw and felt, and also wanted the delegates to part with. And so I'm actually grateful for this conference that we've had in the mother city to just demonstrate the oneness of Africa, the uniqueness of Africa, the knowledge and power base of Africa. And at the end of the day, the future of Africa is very bright for all of us once we embrace issues of good governance, good controls, risk management, and all the good things that we've been talking about. Thank you. Thank you for that question. So I think one thing that we've learned over time is each one of us has got capacity to impact on the other, even in spite and despite our different sizes, our different resources, because each one of us is gifted differently. And so when you look at a country as big in terms of economy as South Africa, and a country like Namibia, you find that when we brought people on stage from Namibia, for instance, the youth session was led by the IIASA president of Namibia, and you could see that how she was able to connect with the youths because she herself is much younger. Whereas if you go to other affiliates, you find that they are led by much older people. Then there will be a gap in terms of them connecting with the youth. So you can see that each one of us in our uniqueness can actually bring something. If you look at a country like Zimbabwe, the depth of the talent pool in terms of the levels and quality of education over the years, you'll find that these can also have an impact on others. And then if you look at a country like South Africa, in the richness in terms of the systems, the maturity of the systems, again, when they are transplanted to other countries within the region, we are all to benefit. So I think it's important to realize that each one of us can impact on the other positively. Each one of us has got a way of ensuring that the next person is better off. So I don't see the differences or the disparities undermining our ability to collaborate with each other. So one of the things that we've done is Southern Africa is actually to have a common WhatsApp group as Southern African leaders, and we've seen that to be very useful as people share what they are doing in their own countries, and someone gets to say, okay, if these are, so we can also borrow and tweak those things to our particular needs. So we have seen that also happening in our region, and so there's lots of sharing of information, a lot of encouragement in the group, a lot of interaction in the group, which actually makes it very interesting and very positive in how we can learn and leverage from each other despite our differences and our capacities. Thank you. Well, I think I wouldn't want to call it a problem, but I think there's lots of room for us to improve in that. You'll find that a lot of people get to know about our profession, and you would have heard that when the next gen were speaking on stage, it was clear that a lot of them got to know about internal audit degrees or internal auditing profession when they were at university or when they'd come to university. But that's where the gap is, and we need to find practical ways of overcoming that in terms of making sure that children as young as they are at creche, they are socialized to the profession of internal auditing. You have seen that a lot of nowadays elementary or creches, and by whatever name we call it in our different countries, or preschool, they have these career days. Yes. And generally you will find that a young kid will have the doctor's coat, will have something to show that they're an engineer or a policeman or a pilot. But how many times do you get someone coming to say, I'm an internal auditor? So that's what we need to break and say at a very young age, we need to socialize them. At primary school level, we need to socialize them to the profession. At secondary school, it must not be a profession where people say, I've been denied entry into another program. And so the professors they are telling me this is the only program available to you based on the subject that you did. But it must be something that's deliberate from the onset that they are interested in that. And so yes, and in Zimbabwe we have 2-3 universities that are offering internal audit at undergrad levels. But I think when we look at a country like like South Africa, where they are offering even at masters and at PhD levels, you can see that there is a long way to go. And I know that there are quite a number of countries in the Southern African region who are not yet even offer, where you don't even have internal audit as a semester course. Maybe it's just a small module or sometimes none at all. And so we've got lots of work to do in the entire region, and not just in our region but across Africa, to make sure that that socialization takes place, that acceptance at degree level. And also the other aspect is when you create demand on the other side, from the employer side, to say the employers have to be clear that if you want to employ an internal auditor, get someone with the relevant qualification in internal audit and not any other qualification. So to me, there's the push side and the pull side. The pull side comes from making sure that the employers understand that. The push side comes from socializing the younger ones so that they understand and also appreciate this profession at a much younger age. Thank you. Thank you very much. So interestingly, yes, we were the pioneers of carrying out a state of internal audit ethics in Zimbabwe. And we then extended that Africa-wide. And the findings are more or less similar because, like I said at the beginning, as Africans, we face similar issues, similar problems. We operate in similar environments. And so we get to hear the same things across Africa, and not just Zimbabwe or the Southern Africa region. And so it will be very interesting if you were also going to go through that. Our first Pan-African study was completed last year, launched, and we are hoping to do that every year going forward. And hopefully the intention is that it becomes a global sort of assessment of the state of internal audit ethics, and want to see the variation and the differences across the different continents, and say where do they stand. So yes, objectivity, independence. I think a lot of the pressure comes from management, or sometimes from the boards, in terms that they want to look good, but sometimes the results of your work are not showing that they are as good as they want to be or claim to be. And sometimes it's also pressure that comes from the economic environment, that sometimes internal auditors are afraid of losing their jobs or being sidelined or not considered for higher level jobs, in terms of promotion or other benefits. So that's part of the pressure that you find that internal auditors face around that. And then sometimes it also arises from a point of the auditors themselves not being confident about their capabilities, and that's why we are on a push to say we want our people to be qualified and certified to be internal auditors, and that's why we are pushing very aggressively for people to be certified internal auditors, because we believe that part of the problem could actually be or arises from the fact that they are not properly qualified in the profession. They came from other disciplines. They might be highly educated in other disciplines, but they don't understand, for instance, domain 3 for the global internal audit standard talks about things like professionalism, ethics, those kind of things. So if you are not schooled in those sort of things, you think you can negotiate your way out of certain issues, and so those are some of the things, but there could be others as well. But I thought that I should bring those up as things that put pressure on people's independence, people objectivity, and obviously one of the things that we are always talking about, especially with regards to independence, is the placing of the internal audit function in the whole framing of the organizational hierarchy. And so it's important that it's something that we are also trying to address, to make sure that they are appropriately placed so that they can be able to speak to peers rather than to speak to bosses, because that also undermines them. And so that places pressure on independence and objectivity. And finally, one of the things that we have seen, especially from a South African perspective, but I'm sure it's also there across, is where people are fearful. Either they've seen some people having had very negative consequences happening to them because of the work that they've done. So you'll find that people then become fearful. Some, we've even read of people being shot, killed because of the work that they've done. So again, all those things put a lot of pressure on independence and objectivity, and so that's the thing that we want to manage. But I think you have seen from the conference that we called in policymakers, people like public protector, people like the Auditor General. The idea is, when we collaborate as institutions that are pro-governance, you'll find that there's less pressure on our independence, there's less pressure on our objectivity. We are able to do our work very efficiently, very effectively, and truth tell, and so build the institutions that are African, so that we are able to deliver to our citizens. Thank you for that question. Certainly, it's publicly available. They just go on the AFIIA website, AFIIA, and that's AFIIA website. And also it has been shared with all the institutes. They have it. So any IIA office in any country in Africa has access to that. It has been shared on a number of platforms. So it's not something that is you need a license or anything to have access to. And again, we are there. If anyone wants it, please feel free to get in touch with any of us, the leaders of AFIIA, or any of the AFIIA offices or IIA offices in the whole of Africa. They should have access to that information. Yes, so I think I'm very excited, and I would say very blessed. I mean, I don't think it has ever happened for any vice chair to have, this conference, come one after the other in your region. So we are looking at continuing some of the things that we have seen here. For instance, there was 2 innovations that stand out from this conference, the 2026 AFIIA conference held in Cape Town, South Africa. One is we gave a platform for the young people to speak about what they see about our profession, what they think about our profession, what they want us to change, how we lead them, the tools that they use. So it was a very exciting, program that was started off here in Cape Town. I think through our chair, Madam Tokozile Kuwali, who said, "No, I've seen this somewhere else, and I want it to be a feature." And I'm confident from what we saw that it's something that will be retained. That's very exciting. The other innovation that was brought in this conference, again, this was an initiative of IIASA South Africa itself, our host, is that we had people who are studying for academic qualifications present their research papers to us. It was a very exciting thing that happened, a very interesting innovation that has never happened before. So again, we want to see that happening. Obviously, all these things that we did, we're doing them for the first time. There will be further refinements to make them even much better, much bigger. The other thing that I saw in this conference that we would want to repeat is we've had the highest number of speakers from the most number of countries ever. So we had at least 15 countries, African countries represented on stage, which we have never had before, such a high number of countries. So again, to hear the voice of the whole of Africa, every region was represented. North Africa, Central Africa, East Africa, West Africa, Southern Africa, everyone was represented in this conference. So again, we want to see a repeat of that. I think there are some things obviously that we want to be able to manage better, that we saw administratively, and also in terms of how early our people register and pay for the conference. I think it has always historically put a lot of pressure on the people that are administering. So we would want to see an improvement on that. But what we have also done is to ask for views and inputs from our people to say what would they want to see better, what would they want to see more of, and what would they want to see more or less of. And as a team, we will be making reviews and projecting into the future. And I know that the work for Malawi has already started in terms of preparation. As we get inputs, we'll also leverage off our various affiliate leaders across Africa to give us input in terms of what are some of those things that they would want us to have in our future AFIIA conference. But look, I think I've been excited by what we've done here in South Africa, and I think we can only get better. And in fact, listening to the former AFIIA chair, who was actually the second AFIIA chair, saying, you guys have taken this to a higher level. It just said, wow, because I feel part of this process, and I am part of that process that has taken it to a higher level. But I'm thinking that when we go to Malawi and beyond, we are going to even take it to a much, much higher level. So I'm looking forward to the inputs of the various leaders to guide us so that we can actually take this to a higher level. Thank you.